text or various datas are available, then it is going to become difficult to manually analyze all those images and reach a quick decision. That is where AI will come. Now, problem with AI we have all heard is that how much will you trust? And somebody said that the biggest challenge to technology is realism. That is the real people, because I only pose a question to AI and then I am skeptical about it. Is it telling me the right thing or not? Why problem occurs is because, like, what is backing me in taking decision is experience. Experience I gained over 30-40 years is my training. What is the training for AI? Training for AI is data. So tomorrow if I'm more confident of my training the AI, because the right kind of data has to be fed in. Just a 5 seconds anecdote. They say, what is AI? If a computer, I say, was asked, I have a choice between two watches, one is permanently stopped, one loses 1 second in a day, which one should I buy? A guy without AI will tell you buy which is permanently stopped, because it gives you correct time twice a day. Other one will give you once in 236 years by simple LCM mathematics. So this computer needs training in life science, that how does time management work in real life. Only then will he give you the correct solution. So all this training has to be fed into the AI system, and moment I am confident of my training. I have been an instructor, I have trained guys to fly aeroplanes who didn't even know how to ride a scooter. Okay, so when do I launch him solo? I launch him solo moment I am confident of my training, that I have trained him enough. Now he will take the plane and bring it back. I think a similar trend will follow in AI. Thank you. Yes, please.
It will be very intriguing. Put this question to ChatGPT. What the answer comes out. It will be intriguing.
Okay, I would like to add to your first another question. Like, you are a first year student of aerospace engineering. I have all my degrees, BTech, MTech, PhD in aerospace engineering. So and I've also served as a professor of aerospace engineering. So I would say, as a student of aerospace engineering, you must study properly. That's a very important answer. Okay? You must have grip of all your concepts, aerodynamics, propulsion, structures. I have seen many students running away from structures and material science. Please study it properly, because without structural analysis and understanding of structure, you cannot design anything. If you design, it may fail structurally. Okay, so I would like to add one more thing. Since you are talking about AI, study out swarming technology. Yes, it is the classic example of AI. You know swarming? When a cluster of drones are flying together. Okay, so you must study that. You will get your answer. Thank you.
Okay, so, okay, I can't stop a young lady in a suit.
So my name is Riddhi, I'm from BTech Aerospace.
Get a mic, please. Get a mic, please.
Good evening, sir. I am Riddhi Malhotra. I am currently pursuing BTech Aerospace from third year. I am from LPU. So my doubt is that, like, what are the strategic implications that Indian defense faces when it comes to privatization of military projects?
Are you saying that when you make a private industrial or defense industrial complex, which is highly
So
privatized,
when private industries are given some kind of military projects, like Dr. Rajiv Sachdeva told us that some of the projects are completely given to DRDO, and now lists have been made that these projects will be transferred to private industries. So what are the strategic implications of these projects?
are you fearing something? You see, after all, there must be a question which came out of some apprehension that you have in your mind.
No,
What
no,
was the
sir.
basis of asking this question? Because, it's a very good question, but
Right,
you
sir.
must have had some inkling that there is something going to go wrong, so I'll ask this question.
No, sir, nothing wrong. I just had this curiosity. Like, why privatization can't take place in an easier manner for the defense? Like civilian involvement in defense.
Okay, so is there anybody, make an attempt, because it's interesting, and I don't have an answer because we are all trying to achieve this, but I suppose, yeah.
So I think I'll club your question with somebody who said if the we hear of all those conspiracy theories in US that military complex is, fueling these wars, right? So, to answer his question first, see, the fact is, every industry or economy, it goes through a growth phase, right? For us, it'll be I'm from the industry. I'll say आपके मुंह में घी शक्कर कभी ऐसा भी हो, लेकिन अभी we are way off that. And at the end of the day, see, the fact is, if you have the right regulators and the government and the policies, we'll not dwell into what is happening in X country, right? At the end of the day, somebody has to buy if the industry is making. I know world is not black and white, it's a shades of gray, but one, we are way off that. It's there are some very small green shoots which have come in, and people like us or some other industry members who are growing. And well, if you look at CNBC, if you follow the shares and all, so yeah, aerospace and defense is what a lot of people are talking about. Fintech, aerospace, agriculture, and something to do with medicine tech, med tech. So we are way off. Abhi time hai, and at the end of the day, see, on top of that is the legislator. If you are able to legislate properly, if you are able to regulate properly, those issues should not happen. But then again, the world is grey, right? And if I may attempt to answer your question, what are the challenges? See, the fact is, in the last session we were talking about let's not take example of China only, but military or defense use case or industry, they're for the nation, right? And why restrict our R&D or the development only to the government? See, we all are affected, right? If our economy doesn't do well, this military industry or defense aerospace industry will also not flourish, right? Let it be a synergistic. So there are some pitfalls in everything, right? While they say ki you should have only organic food, that also may have some pitfalls. So what you are alluding to, yes, there are some pitfalls. There can be pitfalls, and he asked that question also. But at the end of the day, why do we? I want to maximize my chances of success, whether in terms of a technology or an industry or a capability development. And there we had this example of China. How everything is intertwined. I'm not saying that's the right model, but the fact is to compartmentalize R&D, and thoughts can never be compartmentalized, right? That only DRDO can think of a solution or only industry can think of a solution. It has to be, a synergistic effort, and the regulatory framework, and I think the business dynamics also, they have a they have a habit of finding the right equilibrium. So have I been able to answer? I hope I have.
Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
I will just lead on to something which I will request you to then conclude. You see, business and war, these are two words. Some people have war fighting as the business, and some people make business out of war. And I think here two types of people are sitting who want to make business out of war and who have war fighting as the business. At the end of it, when you talk about Atmanirbharta, indigenization, supply chain infection, we will not buy, we will not get technology. Some people are denying you technology, and some people you don't want to get technology from because they will infect your systems as we get smarter. So I think checks and balances in technology, the testing, your own industry, your own control, chip manufacturing. Unless you don't manufacture chips here, obviously you're going to suspect chips which come from outside. So I think the key lies in developing your indigenous systems, homegrown, and that is why somewhere we're talking about the IC content, of course, which becomes laughable because the way we think about it becomes laughable, and it is not practical. But I suppose there is some seriousness in making sure that we are fighting the Indian wars with Indian solutions. I think that is what is more important. Air Marshal Sachdeva.
If your question
Oh,
If
you're still being talked about. Okay.
If your question was simple and not complicated the way the chair has understood, then I'll just tell you, like the DRDO rep in the previous session mentioned, that 108 innovations which the DRDO was doing, they've handed over to the industry. Okay, you do it. Fine. There is another thing which the Ministry of Defence has started, known as IDEX, Innovations for Defence Excellence. In that, the Army, Navy and Air Force is throwing a challenge to the MSMEs. That means private industry. They're throwing a challenge. हमें ये चाहिए बना के दिखा सकते हो? Can you make a mic which is half the weight of this? Okay, now the industry comes up with that challenge, and there's a competition held amongst them. Whoever wins that competition gets 2 crore rupees to go ahead and start manufacturing it. So you are integrated with the system like this. So what are the challenges? Almost about 75 to 100 challenges as of now the industry is making, and I think Air Force has picked up 15 of them. Those challenges. So if your question was that simple, then this is the answer. You are integrated through DRDO, because DRDO has a 70-year of experience. So we can't let that experience switch off and switch you on. So through them, there is an industry which is being looked after, and the Ministry of Defence is also looking after the industry. So don't worry. If your question was that simple, if your question was that complicated, then the answer has come from there.
You are still on the same, or
30 seconds, sir.
Okay.
A young mind having this hesitation clearly shows that as an industry, as a regulator, as a services, 2020 in the year 2023, a young mind, student, the future of our nation, conveying this hesitation should be our motivation to integrate and do the things as fast as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Amandeep. Also, you are younger than me. I think you have thought better than what I would have said. So thank you very much. Whenever we do a program like this, and General Khandare has been talking about how to integrate the young minds, he's been also saying, we've been speaking about it to get more students here. And what's your name? Huh? Riddhi Malhotra. I think we want more Riddhi Malhotras in our next program. I think we need young minds to come and debate, question, and maybe sometimes come and give us out of box, because I think we are quite boxed in. And I think there's a great lesson that you have given here, is that we will get more young minds, and we will make sure that we have special vacancies for the young minds to come in. Thank you very much for this.
I think perhaps we can have an entire session dedicated only to students grilling you all. So before we close the session, taking concurrence of Air Marshal Bedi's reference to weddings in near space in a balloon, I would request you all to please save the date, wedding style, for Indian Space Congress 2023, happening on the 12th of July till the 14th of July. So 12th to the 14th of July, please save the date. No, it says 12th to 14th. Okay. नहीं बिल्कुल सही हुआ है. So I think I stand corrected. It's from 10th till the 12th of July. It's happening in New Delhi. So please save the date. And now may I ask the esteemed Chair, Lieutenant General PGS Pannu, to kindly do us the honors of presenting mementos to the esteemed speakers as a token of our appreciation and thanks. We thank Air Marshal G.S. Bedi, AVSM, VM, VSM, retired, former DGIS. Thank you for your presence here today.
And I'm also presenting my book to the panel that have been with me.
And there is this book which is going out to each and every panelist. This has been co-authored by General Pannu along with Mr. Rohit Malhotra. We thank Lieutenant General Dr. V.K. Saxena, PVSM, AVSM, VSM retired, formerly Director General of the Corps of Army Air Defense. It's been a pleasure to have you here in our midst, sir. Our thanks to Mr. Naveen Navlani. Our thanks to Mr. Jayant Sinha. And a very special thanks, of course, going out to Mr. Toby Simon for being a part of this session. And the esteemed chair for having chaired this session and taken us through this enthralling discussion.
So we also actually went in on a platform, we discussed this book on very good. So Toby,